Hello, and welcome back to another episode of the WPS podcast. That is Why People Suck. I'm Celia, and I'm joined by my co host, best friend, and sister, Alejandra.
Hi, everyone. Glad to be back for another episode where we call out all the ways people are super annoying and talk about what we can actually do about it. We say it so you don't have to. In today's episode, we're going to be talking about why pushy people suck. Personally, I really hate when people who just can't take the hint, like when you tell them no 100 times and they're still trying to get you to say yes or agree to something that you clearly don't want to do. It's so awkward and it's so uncomfortable. And it's like, dude, just take the hint. No means no.
Yeah, totally agree. No is a full sentence, and it's really annoying when people are just so persistent and they demand your time and attention, even though you are saying, I can't do that right now, or I don't want to do that. Just insist so much. Yeah, that's super annoying.
Yeah, I want to go back to what you just said. No is a full sentence. That's one of the most powerful, best advice I've ever gotten. It's something that has stuck with me so much. Is like, you don't have to explain yourself. If you say no, other people have to respect that. No means no. And that is just so universal for anything. I saw this video recently of this guy teaching kids, particularly little boys, if a woman says no, like for example, if you ask for a hug from someone and they say no, the answer is no. And like he was saying, he was trying to show them, like he would say, okay, can you give me a hug? And the woman would say no. And he'd be like, oh, come on, just one little hug. And then she'd be like, okay, fine. And then he'd give her a hug. And then he was like, okay, do you see the difference there between her saying no and then saying yes? Like it's not a real yes because she said no. And you should have just respected the fact that she said no the first time. And I love that. I feel like it's such a good lesson to teach people, like no means no, not just like with body autonomy, but like with everything. Like if I say no, I don't want to have another drink, or no, I don't want to go out tonight. That's reason enough. You don't need to give a reason. And I feel like it's really important for people to start like really having that sink in. Like if someone says no to you, respect that. Don't make it weird.
Yeah, and don't insist or give other reasons as to why they should do something that they don't wanna do. I totally agree, and that's great that they're teaching little kids that, like what you were saying with the videos. That's awesome because I think that wasn't a thing before. It was okay or it was acceptable, especially for men to be super pushy. Like, I had
Mhm.
occasions where people would ask for my number, like, men would ask for my number, and I'm like, "No," or "I have a boyfriend," or whatever. I even gave him a reason, which, again, I didn't really need to. No would have been enough, but they kept insisting,
And
and that's just really annoying. It's awkward, and it can also be scary depending on the situation.
yeah, I was about to say, like, you can cross from being a totally normal person to a total creep in about 10 seconds if you don't respect the first no. And I feel like also, like, as I've gotten older, like, the greatest gift that you could give me or that I could give someone else is respecting someone's no the first time. If someone is super pushy with me, it's just seriously turns me off, like, as a friend, as a coworker, whatever. Like, I'm just not, I don't wanna deal with you. I don't wanna be your friend anymore. I don't like to feel uncomfortable like that. It's just such a no is a full sentence. That's it.
Yeah. And I just hate when people try to guilt you into something. Like, for example, you said before, if you don't want another drink, right? You're out at a party with friends or whatever, and they're like, oh, just one more, or you're no fun. And then they make you feel
Mhm.
bad, or like, oh, come on, it's my birthday, or whatever excuse they want to give you. You're still out there having fun and enjoying yourself and being around people, but it doesn't
Yeah.
mean that you have to partake in all of the activities that are happening. It's really annoying when people like to do certain things, but you don't like doing things. I don't know. Another example that comes to mind is if someone says to me, okay, do you want to dance? And I'm like, no, I don't want to dance. I'm here. I'm having a good time, but I don't want to dance. I don't like to dance. I do like to dance. This is just an example.
Yeah.
But if I said no, then that's enough. I don't want to be part of that activity. It's enough for me to be there and enjoy this party or event, whatever in a different way.
Yeah, sometimes you just don't feel like it. That's totally fine. Sometimes you just don't feel like dancing. Or like also like with the drink thing, like you or this person doesn't know what your limit is. They don't know that you've already maybe had 3 drinks and like a 4th one will put you over the edge and you're not trying to be over the edge. You're just trying to be like a good buzz or like maybe you're just like I would like to wait for an hour so that I'm not like falling over in about 25 minutes. It's just like if somebody says no, I don't know. I just don't know
Yeah.
how many more times to say it, but if somebody says no, it's no, and that's it. There doesn't need to be any more reasoning behind it.
Yeah, definitely. But there's also other subtle ways in which people can be pushy, and it depends on the relationship too. A coworker can be pushy in a different way than a friend or family member. For example, at work, there's people who try to take over and it's like their way or the highway. And it's like,
Mm.
okay, you're not even my manager. We're at the same level. We're working on this together and we can talk about different ideas. You're not going to just steamroll me and decide everything because you think that's best. Like,
Mhm.
that's another way that people can be pushy and annoying like that.
Yeah.
Or they interrupt you all the time in meetings. That's another form of pushiness because it's just showing your boundaries or your ideas, you yourself are not important
Yeah.
enough for them. What matters is them and their opinion, what they want to do, not you.
Yeah. I think one very common denominator that you just said right there is boundaries. People that have or pushy people have a problem with boundaries. So like I was saying like or like you what you were just saying like they don't think that you're that important or like your opinion really matters as much because they don't have the boundary with you. They don't respect your boundaries. Another one is like I always try to teach my kids now
Yeah.
like this was something that was never taught to us growing up, but I always tell my kids if you don't want to hug or if you don't want a kiss from somebody, you can just say no. And they say no to me sometimes because they think it's funny, but I respect it. If they're like, "No, mommy, I don't want to hug right now." I'm like, "Okay, that's fine. I respect that." They do it because they think it's funny. But I feel like it's a really good lesson because like they feel like they can say it. Because that's the thing. I don't feel like I ever grew up like knowing that I could say no to certain people. And that can be dangerous. You
Mm.
don't know everyone that your kids are gonna be around all the time. I know I keep bringing it back to kids, but that's just kinda like boundaries is a really big thing that I'm trying to teach my kids. And I feel like
That's true.
pushiness was just such a common thing when we were growing up as because they see you as kids and it's like, "Oh, kids are whatever, like, it doesn't matter." But it's like, "No, that's where you're teaching them the baseline of, like, how they should be treated as adults, actually." So it's very important to teach them the boundaries and the fact that they can say no when they're little, because then they will feel empowered when they're older.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. No, that is so true. It's the ability to be able to say no without feeling guilty
Mm,
and other people understanding that people have boundaries and you can't push your agenda on everyone else. We all have our own lives and it's not okay to do that basically.
yeah, because I also feel like I didn't really learn that it was okay for me to say no without coming up with a million reasons why I was saying no until probably my early 30s, late 20s in recent years, in the recent decade. I just recently was like, "You know what? I don't have to give you a reason." I felt finally empowered enough to just say no. But that's not I feel like it should be
Yeah.
something that you learn much earlier so that you feel empowered in your 20s, which by the way is like the most dangerous era of your life, I feel.
Yeah, it's true. It's the time when everybody wants to try to take advantage of you. It's
Yes.
so true. That's the time when your friends are pushing you to do things that maybe you don't wanna do or breaking your boundaries.
Mhm.
Family as well, obviously at work that happens because 'cause they're like, "Okay, you're the newbie, you're the young kid,"
Yeah.
and they try to take advantage of you, but we need to learn to have our boundaries, stand up for ourselves, and be very direct. When you say no, that's it. You don't need to give a reason, but I also
Mhm.
struggled with that too. And I find that a lot of women do struggle with that too.
Yeah.
I've also read interesting articles about how, for whatever reason, it's different with women too, because we feel that guilt, which is weird. I guess it's because of what you were saying, like, we're not taught that it's okay to say no, and we always have to come up with a million reasons. And then it's annoying. You might even give a reason and people come up with excuses for every reason. It's, "Oh, no, you have to I need to get up early to go to work." And they're like, "Call in sick," or, "I'll give you a ride tomorrow." I don't know, whatever it might be, but they try to make
Mhm.
you give you solutions for your quote unquote excuse. And it's not an excuse, it's just the reason, and I don't even need to give you a reason. It's how I
Yeah.
feel, and that's
Yeah,
enough.
exactly. Yeah, exactly. I'm sorry, I don't feel like being tired tomorrow at work, and I'm not gonna call in sick because it's not a good enough reason to call in sick or whatever, I don't know. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. And I feel like another way that people can be pushy is making decisions for you without even asking your opinion on something. An example that comes to mind, which hasn't happened to me, but I know in certain relationships where, like, the guy will always be ordering for the girl or something. I think
Ew.
that's an antiquated thing, but I feel like that
Red
still
flag.
happens sometimes. I know, gives you the ick.
Yeah, 100%.
Red flag.
Yeah.
But stuff like that,
Yeah.
yeah, someone else always deciding stuff for you, that's being pushy because it's like, "Okay, you can't make your own decisions," and that's not right.
Oh, no, totally. That's a definite, like I feel like if I went out with people and I saw somebody ordering for someone else without them being like, "Oh, this is what I want," first, and then assuming that they just wanted them to order for them or
Mhm.
something, which is also weird, even if they're like, "I want the fish," and then they just are like, "And she'll have the fish or he'll have the fish." I would be like, "What?" I'd be like, "Are you okay?" I would definitely keep an eye. I'd be like,
Yeah.
Do you need to go to the bathroom and have like a do you need to like help? Do you need me to call someone for you?" I don't know. I would be very worried. Luckily, I've never seen that happen because I think I would
Yeah.
probably jump out of my seat. That's so uncomfortable.
Yeah. Wait, actually, I just remembered that did happen to me one time on a first date. Obviously, there was no second date.
One and only, one and done. Yeah.
Yeah.
Is that the reason why you didn't have another day? Were there other reasons?
That was one reason. Actually, he was nice otherwise, but it's like that just shows me that you think that the man is more important in a relationship, and that's enough for me to run to the hills.
Yeah, no
I am
kidding.
not interested.
Wait, but tell us what happened. Now I wanna know.
Oh, yeah, we went to a steak restaurant, so I was very excited. I was gonna have steak, but then he was like, "You know what's really good here? The baked chicken or whatever." And I was like, "Okay." I whatever, I'm still gonna order what I want. But then the waiter came around and he was like, "We're gonna have 2 chickens," whatever the dish was called, and a drink, whatever he decided to pick. And obviously, I was so young, I didn't say, "No, no, no," which I should have. I should have just been like, like the movie White Chicks, where Terry Crews's character is like, "And for the lady, perhaps a salad?" And the girl is like, or we know it's a guy
Yeah, yeah.
dressed as a girl, is like, "I think not." And
I don't
and goes
remember.
ahead and orders like a steak and lobster or whatever.
That's
But
hilarious.
yeah, I didn't say anything at the time. I was just too young. Too probably too shocked because that had never happened before, and I was like, "This is
Yeah.
weird."
That is so weird. Yeah. You know what? That actually just reminded me. I dated this guy briefly, obviously years ago, that when we would walk and he'd hold my hand, like I'm a fast walker. So sometimes I would like get ahead of him and he would pull me back. And I feel like that's a weird red flag, right? Doesn't that, it feels weird, right? And I would always be
Yeah,
like, what are you doing? I would be
that's
like, what are
super
you
weird.
doing? And he's like, "Stop walking ahead of me." And I was like, "I'm not like trying to walk ahead of you on purpose. It's just that I walk fast." But the fact that he would pull me back, like instead of being like, "Oh, hey, hang on, where are you going?" Or like, I don't know,
Yeah.
like addressing it a different way, but like pulling me back just felt like
Yeah.
such ugh, like a just obviously that didn't last.
Yeah. Red
Anyway.
flags. Yeah.
Yeah, so I
No,
don't know if that's
totally.
similar.
Good thing that didn't last because
Yeah, I don't know if that's necessarily a red flag, but or I don't know if that's necessarily, like, a pushy thing to do, but it just felt like a little bit like a bully.
Controlling.
Yeah.
But other things, like, with relationships, there's so many ways it's true that someone can be a bully and very pushy like that, like, not letting their partners go out or do whatever it
Yeah.
is they wanna do. That's also really disgusting.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. That's a different type of pushy, bullying, red flag, whatever. Whatever you wanna call it. Yeah.
Yeah. I think, like, with friends and family, going back to people who are pushy, one thing that comes to mind is when people insist on you, like, overspending, which kinda goes back to an episode that we talked about with overspending, but that's one way I find friends and family to be pushy sometimes when they're like, "Oh, come see me," and it's like, "Well, right now I can't because I can't afford it," or whatever,
Mhm.
or, "Let's go out to eat to this nice restaurant," and you're like, "I would rather do something else."
Yeah.
Because that's kind of expensive, or I can't do it right now, or I don't have vacation, whatever it is, but they, like, insist and make you feel guilty about not spending that time with them.
Yeah.
They're trying to take all of your time and effort, and sometimes you can't give that,
Mhm.
but they make you feel guilty about it. And I don't know, I wanna ask you, like, do you think people realize that, though? Because in many ways, yeah, like when a friend wants to leave my birthday early, inside I'm like, "Oh, that's sad. I wish you didn't." But I never say it
Mm.
because I have learned that it makes people feel bad. Like when I want to leave too and someone's like, "Oh no, please don't leave." Like I feel bad.
Yeah.
And I've also read that, like, what people remember most about a party or event or going out is, like, the moment they arrive and the moment they leave. So I really try not to make the moment people leave uncomfortable, which is yeah.
Yeah.
It was an interesting study I saw about that because I was like, "Wouldn't you
Hmm.
remember more of, like, the party itself?" I don't know, but, like, the way that you're greeted, I guess, and, like, the way that
Mhm.
people say goodbye that also sticks with you, so that was
Yeah.
kind of interesting.
Yeah, that is interesting. I didn't realize that, but I guess it's the starting point and the end point, and those are easier to remember, maybe? Whereas, like, everything else, like, blurs together,
Mhm.
like, timeline from within the party kind of it's like, "Well, does that happen, before the cake or after the cake?" Or maybe that's why. But,
Yeah.
yeah, to go back to your question, I feel like some people don't realize that they're being pushy. I feel like maybe they're just trying to be funny or just trying to be inclusive. "Oh, no, don't leave," or but then other times I'm like, "No, you're just straight up being a bully or being pushy," and yeah, I don't like that. Like, if you have to convince
Mhm.
someone 14 times, they didn't wanna do it in the first place. Like, take the hint. And I do feel like some people are just oblivious. They don't know how to read the room. They don't get, like, social cues
Mhm.
maybe, and that's, a personality trait. I don't really know how to fix that. If you push me too
Yeah.
hard, I'm just never gonna hang out with you again.
Yeah. That is one way to deal with it, and also that's the danger. If you're someone who's pushy, like, you are also pushing people away,
Yep, you're isolating
literally.
yourself. Yeah, you're isolating yourself.
Yeah. And then another thing that comes to mind is, like, salespeople or vendors, like,
Mm.
when they try to upsell you or you go into a store and you're like, "No, I'm just browsing," and then people are, like, trying to give you stuff or show you stuff, and it's just really annoying, and it makes the whole experience so uncomfortable.
Ugh.
Gosh, I hate salespeople. I really do.
Yeah, oh my gosh, that reminds me of trying to buy a car when you're like, "I just want a car, and this is my budget," and they're like, "But you could get this other car," and you're like, "This is my budget, I'm not going over that budget," and they're like, "Okay, here's the car for this, but then do you wanna add the leather seats?" And it's like, "Dude, no, this is my budget, this is all I'm spending, I don't want you to add all this other stuff." That's a really good point, though. Vendors can be really pushy. It's really irritating. Around here, there are a lot of
Mhm.
door-to-door salesmen. I don't know if you have that in London at all, but here there are a ton. So, like, to the point where I don't even open the door when somebody
No.
rings the doorbell unless I'll look on the camera and if I recognize them, sure, but it's usually someone I don't know, so I just don't open the door. And so when the few times I've done it, like, they'll be like, "Oh, are you in the market for windows?" And I'm like, "No." And then they're like, "Okay, but do you want, like, a free quote?" And I'm like, "No." They're like, "We could just do it real quick." I'm like, "Again, no. Stop it." So that's why I don't open the door. But yeah, that's a really good point. And also it doesn't make me wanna buy from you. It actually makes me wanna go, "What's the name of your company?" I will never
Mhm.
reach out to them for a quote. Goodbye.
Yeah. Again, like you said, I don't wanna deal with you. I don't trust you now. And that's the point of being a good salesperson, isn't it? Building trust? Like,
Yeah.
that's not gonna help.
No. Yeah, absolutely. It's ridiculous.
And it's so true that with the budget thing, it's like you give them a specific budget and, like, a specific idea that you have in mind. I mean, yeah, sometimes you need help being creative, but, yeah, with the budget thing, like, that's a hard line.
Yeah.
Or sometimes with vendors too, like, I don't know if you're planning an event, especially and if someone's like, "Oh, you need to book now because then we might be fully booked." That's also annoying to me because, okay, I need to make my decision and talk to other people, like, don't push me
Yeah.
into making a decision right now. No.
Yeah, I know. How many people have you actually met that can make a decision on the spot? I feel like that's a very rare trait. Like, pushing someone is not helping. Like, you're not being a good vendor. It makes the person probably, at least for me, I would just be like, "Ugh, you're turning me off right now. I don't wanna do business with you. I don't wanna give you my money because I need a minute to think."
Yeah, 100%. They're just so sneaky, these salespeople.
Yeah.
Ugh. So, do you have any other stories or examples of people being pushy?
No, not that I can think of. I think that's all, but I'm sure our listeners probably have some really good stories.
Yeah. Unfortunately, we have to deal with these kinds of people every
Yeah.
day.
Yeah, let us know.
I guess some signs to look out for, maybe we could talk about that. What are some signs to look out for to know that someone is just being a pushy bully?
I think if you say no and they continue, that's like the best sign right there. That's when you're like, "Okay, you're being pushy." And you know what? If you call people
Yeah.
out, they might actually chill out. If you're like, "Hey, you're being pushy right now," and I said no. That'll calm them down, I bet.
Yeah. And if it doesn't, then they're terrible.
Yeah. Flick them. Flick them in the
Yeah.
face.
Yeah, exactly. But you're so right. Just like, yeah, that persistence after you refuse the first time, that's definitely sign number
Mm,
one. I also think another way to identify people who are pushy is if they disregard your feelings or schedules. Like I was saying, like they demand your attention, even though you have other things going on or you say no. And then manipulating you by pressuring you to do something or making you feel guilty for not doing something. That's also another way to notice
mhm.
that. And then just like you said, people who are unwilling to accept your no.
Yeah.
And I think like some things that you could do is when someone's being really pushy like that, obviously you gave really good advice there where you're just like you just say no and you're very direct about it. Also, like you could pause before you say yes to something. Like if they're trying to change your mind, don't immediately be like, oh,
Mhm.
okay. Don't give in, like take a break, pause, think about it,
Mhm.
and then just say, no, I can't do that right now. You don't need to give a reason and if you do still wanna, like, hang out with this person, but maybe it's true that the time or event or activity that they are suggesting isn't good for you, then suggest an alternative, but only if you
Mm,
really feel like it. Like, you don't really have to give that chance, you know?
yeah. Another thing that I just thought of is your tone can say it all. So if you're just like, "No," like a stern
Mhm.
no, sometimes that's plenty, and they're like, "Oh, okay." So, practice it. No.
Exactly. No, it's so true the way that you say it, because obviously sometimes people joke around with each other and they're like, "Oh, stay for another," and then they're like, "Oh, okay, twist my arm." Like, they definitely wanted to
Yeah,
stay,
yeah, yeah.
but
Yeah.
that's totally
Yeah.
different. It's
Yeah.
true. Great. Thank you so much for joining us for another episode of the WPS podcast. Remember to like and comment on our posts. We're on TikTok, Instagram, YouTube, and DM us with your stories. We want to hear what you have to say. What do you think of this episode? And have you ever encountered people that are pushy? And if you have any advice for everyone, we'd love to hear it. Thank you so much. We said it, so you didn't have to. We'll see you next
Bye.
time.
See you next time.